So being CEO, I think at heart is really being involved in the product, and being involved in the product is not just the product roadmap or the product vision or any of those milestones. It's also talking to customers, addressing your customers' needs, but also trying to identify what problems and pain points they have and to come out with a solution for them, but also interacting with every touch point around the customer, including the channel. When we look at identity, it's a very, very broad use case. What we deal with is primarily how companies manage not only their employees, but what access they have to what applications they have internally. So an example of an application is someone who has access to a company CRM application or a company ERP application or a company email. These are all the different types of accesses that companies have to manage. Complexity comes in as the larger the company gets. There's been a Cambrian explosion in the number of applications out there for companies. There's thousands and thousands of SaaS products out there these companies are adopting. So the average small company, this is in the range of 250 to 300 employees, is using over 70 plus applications out there. And then the larger the company size, that's growing geometrically on a logarithmic scale. With some companies, they're using thousands of applications, and managing all of this is a complete nightmare. We've pre-built, including with the configurations, more than 1,700 SAML applications, more than any of the other vendors out there. So you don't have to go through the nightmare of doing it yourself. So those all come pre-built. We have over 60,000 web apps, hundreds of MFA integrations that are pre-built. So this is actually where we're offering more than a 10x, 20x better user experience for the admin, for the management side of managing identities at these big companies. There's one part that's geared at developers, and then there's another part that's geared at internal use. So in internal use, Duo is our competitor. For external use, Duo, we don't really see them as a competitor. For external use, over there, our competitor would be, say, Authy. We compare ourselves to Okta in the single sign-on space. The way we see the market going forward is every company out there, they're going to adopt security for internal use, but they're also going to eventually, at some point, have a part of their strategy for addressing their end users or their end customers. This is especially the case for certain B2C companies, but also for SaaS companies. Partnership strategy is something that has been core to our growth.
Say Google or Salesforce.
Sometimes we'd be at a trade show or at a conference exhibiting our product. There would be product managers from those respective companies who would come and say, oh, this is actually what we need to add to our product suite as a complementary product. The visibility that we got from exhibiting at different trade shows started that process. Some of the other players out there have raised tremendous amounts of money, like Okta raised almost $300 million before IPOing, before going public. Duo had raised over $100 million for the Cisco acquisition. But one of the advantages of this was maybe because we hadn't raised so much is we built a lot of tools, especially using machine learning, to automate a lot of our processes, and that's what led us to having a much better product offering. And necessity is the mother of all inventions. And maybe if we had a lot of money, we would have just hired 30 more people just to do that instead of automating it. The era of democratizing IAM has begun. So historically, IAM was a product that companies would look at when they had a couple hundred employees above. But now with the explosion in the number of applications that they're using, they need it at a more micro level. They need it even if they have 5 employees or 10 employees, and they need to have security.